Team USA has struggled on the international stage in recent years, with the rest of the world showing they're catching up. It's clear now that the US can't just send their C or even B team if they want to win. For the upcoming Summer Olympics, the US has acknowledged they're on a mission to take revenge on the world and remind everyone which country dominates basketball. The Redeem Team 2.0 is here. And what if I told you they've just assembled their best roster ever? Yes, even better than 1992 or 2008. This team is expected to destroy any competition in their path, with a lineup packed with future Hall of Famers and constructed so well, it seems unbeatable. And yet, despite all that, there's a very real possibility they might not win the gold medal in Paris. And that's not even the worst part. Whether they win in 2024 or not, the future might not be as bright as they think. That might sound crazy, but it could happen. Don't get us wrong, they're still heavy favorites, and they'll probably win gold, but it might not be as easy as everyone says. Some of the issues Team USA faced in the last two FIBA World Cups and even the Olympics could still affect this squad, no matter how talented and well-built it is. If they don't win, it would be one of the biggest upsets in basketball history. Why? Because this Team USA roster is stacked. Right now, there are 3 top 15 players of all time: LeBron James, Stephen Curry, and Kevin Durant. If that's not enough, there's a 4th MVP, Joel Embiid. While these players may not all be in their prime, they're still top 10 players in the league. That's unlike the Dream Team, which had Larry Bird and Magic Johnson at the tail end of their careers, making the team look better on paper than it actually was. But it's not just about the names or the accolades. This roster is one of the best constructed in Team USA history. Scoring is covered, as usual, with Curry, Durant, Embiid, and LeBron. The shooting and spacing are excellent too, with players like Steph, KD, Booker, Halliburton, Holiday, and Kawhi. And the size issue that hurt Team USA in recent competitions? That's been addressed with Embiid and Davis battling for the center spot. What about defense? This team barely has any weak defenders. They could put together an insane defensive lineup with Holiday, Kawhi, Tatum, Bam Adebayo, and Anthony Davis. And the worst part for their opponents? That lineup would still likely dominate offensively. Plus, they've got plenty of playmakers like Steph, LeBron, and Tyrese Halliburton, alongside players who don't need the ball constantly to be great, like Curry, Tatum, and Kawhi. In short, this team has no real weakness. It's a powerhouse, unlike the 2019 FIBA World Cup team that lost to France. That wasn't a huge deal, but it was still disappointing. Then, in the 2023 FIBA World Cup, they lost to Germany and Canada. Sure, they don't care as much about the World Cup as the Olympics, but not even bringing home a medal, as they did in 2023, is a disgrace. They did win the 2020 Olympics, but it wasn't as one-sided as it used to be. They lost to France in the group stage and struggled in the final, barely beating France by 5 points. It was their worst showing since the 2004 debacle. This 2024 squad is much better than the 2004 or 2021 teams, but the gold medal isn't guaranteed yet. Some of the teams they'll face are way stronger than they used to be. Many will have at least one NBA player, and some will have several. They could face Serbia with Jokic or Greece with Giannis. This doesn't mean those teams will beat the US, but it shows how the game has evolved. Team USA used to have all the best players in the world. Now they have to play against some of them. Look at Canada, for example. They've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jamal Murray, RJ Barrett, Dylan Brooks, and Luguentz Dort. A real squad full of not just NBA players, but great NBA players. If SGA and Murray both go off in the same game, the US could be in trouble. In a one-game elimination tournament, anything can happen. FIBA tournaments also tend to bring out the best and lesser-known NBA players, like Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, who looked like prime Kobe during the last World Cup. Then there's team chemistry. Other countries tend to have nearly the same squad for every major tournament, playing together for years or even decades. They might not have the same talent, but they have structure and familiarity. Team USA, meanwhile, assembles a new group of stars for every tournament, assuming talent alone will carry them through. But as we saw in the last World Cup, that's not always enough. Another challenge is FIBA rules. Star power can't change the fact that Team USA's players aren't as familiar with FIBA's style of play. Some, like LeBron and KD, have experience, but most don't, and the rules are different. The most significant change? There's no 3-second defensive rule, which allows players like Rudy Gobert to stay in the paint all game long. This makes it harder for the US to score. If they face a team like France, with both Gobert and Victor Wembanyama in the paint, it's going to be tough. Those two could form one of the best defensive front courts ever, especially with FIBA rules allowing them to camp out in the paint. This could force Team USA to rely more on threes, which, while effective, isn't as reliable as easier shots in the paint. In the end, while Team USA will most likely win, the gap between them and the rest of the world is shrinking. Their best players, LeBron, Steph, KD, are nearing the end of their Olympic careers, and while the next generation of American stars is talented, they might not be as dominant as previous teams. Meanwhile, international players keep improving, and countries like France continue developing new talent. So yes, Team USA might win in 2024, maybe even in a blowout, but what about 2028 or 2032? As the gap narrows, the days of US basketball domination could be coming to an end.